What is up, Flick? What is up? Ooh, not this time! Universe thinks it can mess with me. I say no. What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about a brand new movie, and happy Death Day to you. On this channel, we love to talk about movies, so get in the comments section. Let me know, have you seen it? Are you looking forward to it? Did you enjoy Happy Death Day to you? Let me know how you felt, but today we are going to talk about it, so let's get into this review. So Tree Gelbman discovers that dying over and over was surprisingly easier than the dangers that lie ahead. And I will start with a little backstory, because that's what we do here, about how I felt about the first Happy Death Day and how I did not watch it for the first time until last year. We decided to rent it because I realized, oh my gosh, I've never seen this movie. It has a sequel coming out. I had heard really good things about it, but I saw the trailer, saw the marketing, and when it came to theaters, I was just like, eh. It was really before I started reviewing movies on a daily basis. I figured, it's one of those I could skip, but after watching it, I really wish I would have seen it in theater because it was just a really good time. I had a blast with the first Happy Death Day. It's not the most revolutionary thing I've ever seen. It's a concept that we have seen over and over, whether you're talking about Edge of Tomorrow or Groundhog Day or even a television show that just came out in Russian Doll on Netflix. That show is incredible, but Happy Death Day really nailed everything it needed to. It had a slight satirical feel to it. It knew its characters, it knew its world, and it knew when to do what to make the audience laugh and be scared. Now, one element that it did carry over to the second one was that satirical element, the element of humor that I think this movie very much needed. I'm glad it had that because I was laughing with our characters. I was laughing with Tree. All of the situations that she continues to get herself in, living this day over and over, it's really funny if you think about it. One thing that it did not carry over was the element of horror. Now, there are one or two scenes in here when you get a little creeped out, you're like, oh gosh, somebody's going to sneak up, but really, this is a completely different genre. This is not a horror film. The sequel of Happy Death Day went in a different direction, and I like that. Instead of a horror mystery thriller, we get more of a comedic mystery thriller, and there are more jokes in this one. This is more self-aware of what it is as opposed to the first, and the first one was very much that. This one takes it to a whole new level. This also has sci-fi elements to it. I don't want to go too deep into the plot, but they start to uncover the why of this situation, how she got herself living this day over and over, and what certain characters are going through, and the ins and outs of what is going on, how are we going to fix this, how are we going to stop it. And while I was okay with him going in a different direction, I like the fact that they're doing something different here. Most sequels will not do that. They will play it safe. I was also okay without having an explanation of why this was happening. I liked the mystery of it. I did not want that to be something that is solved in the sequel, but they go that route and they try their very best, and sometimes it just comes off as a bit too much, as a bit too ridiculous. Which, don't get me wrong, this whole franchise is ridiculous, but in the best way possible. That's what makes it fun, because it's so self-aware and so satirical at times. It plays on these horror tropes and horror characters, but where this movie wasn't as much of a horror movie, those tropes and characters bogged it down a bit more than I believe the first one did, because the first one executed that to a T, or a tree. Yes! This one, not as much in my opinion. They try to go the scientific route, and because of that, I think the story suffers because of it, and I think the characters do not get their due as they did in the first one, and you're not as on board with things happening. Or at least I wasn't as on board. I was still on board. You can't help but to love our main character here. She is an incredible actress. She does such a wonderful job in this movie. She has charisma. She has likability. You buy her relationships, especially the relationship between her and someone in this movie. I'm not going to spoil who it is. It's not our love interest, even though I love their relationship as well. It is someone different, and I believe you will get invested into that relationship, and then when there's an emotional aspect at the end, you will hopefully buy into that. I bought into it, did not expect myself to get emotional, but I did, because that relationship was handled so well and so unexpected. That's what I'll say about this film. Even though I didn't buy every direction it went in, it kept me on my toes. It kept doing things a bit differently than I anticipated. This is not a predictable movie. There are predictable elements and predictable plot points that are taken from other films in this vein, but where this goes, and especially where it ends, you don't expect what is going to happen, and I really like that. You rarely get sequels like this, sequels that can do things that kind of catch you off guard and make you go, huh, didn't anticipate that to happen, and that's kind of what Happy Death Day to You does. Now, do I have issues with certain elements? Absolutely. Like I said, the scientific aspect did not work as well as I think the filmmakers intended. There are multiple scenes that just don't make a lot of sense if you think about it too much. When they're sitting there doing the math, I'm like, what's going on here? Why are you not explaining this? They start the movie out on a certain note with a certain character at the forefront, and I liked where that was going, and then they just kind of drop it and they shift focus, and even though I like where they shifted focus to, they never answered that particular question, a question that I still have in my head like, what happened there? There are silly things that happen, of course, funny silly, which I like, but also silly like scenes where characters are just kind of standing and waiting on something to happen, a scene where a guy is holding a knife out in public and no one seems to notice except our main character. I'm like, nobody notices the guy holding the knife? I mean, this is clearly a situation. But all of those things being said, I still enjoyed it. I think this is a solid sequel. It is rare when you get a horror movie that works and then you get a horror sequel that goes in a different direction and still works. And I believe that's what Happy Death Day to You did for me. And because of all of those things, I'm going to give Happy Death Day to You a 64%. I enjoyed this movie. I liked it. Not as much as the first. Like I said, I think the first had that magic and had a bit more to it. But this is still cool, and I love when a sequel does something that you do not expect. So let me know in the comments section, did you guys like this movie? Did it impress you? Did you feel it was too conventional? Did you feel it was predictable? Regardless of what you think, whether it differs from me or if you agree, let me know in the comments section down below. This is your space to talk Happy Death Day to You. We are not done today. Later on today, I have a review for Isn't It Romantic? And then Friday, as always, Netflix. There's a brand new show dropping called Umbrella Academy. I'm going to be binging that all day Friday. I cannot wait to tell you guys how I feel about that because I am very excited for it. Thank you so much for watching this video. As always, get in the description down below and you can see where this film and all of the other movies I have watched in 2019 ranks from best to worst. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will catch you very soon.